Can you tell us the story about Trunky? Why not? Tell us the story about Trunky the elephant.
When I was an English teacher, we had the awful Japanese English textbook. You have to read out chapters to the students, but it was written by Japanese folks who weren't good at English, so none of the stories made sense. But the stories were like trying to lecture kids on weird things. We had like a story about a Cambodian elephant that got its leg blown off by a mine. And I had to like read it to the class, and I'm like reading it for the first time. And it's like, Trunky the elephant was wandering through the fields of Cambodia when it got its leg blown off. And I'm like reading it, I'm like, is this a real thing? I'm reading to 17-year-old Japanese kids who don't care less. And they're like all asleep. I'm just reading this passage in front of 40 children. The elephant's foot flew through the air like a, and then it's like, but don't worry, Trunky got a prosthetic leg. And then on the vocabulary section afterwards, it was like, repeat after me, children, prosthetic leg. And it's like, none of this fucking vocabulary is useful to most Japanese kids. In what situation? Because they don't teach them like normal everyday English that we should speak now. But it's like, prosthetic leg, repeat after me.
The one time the Japanese kid meets a...
well, yeah, I mean, that one day of
a handicapped person. Like,
repeat after me, kids, war crimes. Like, it was just like, all the chapters were like that. Because a lot of
that just wasn't the Chris.
That was the Chris.
But a lot of the Japanese English textbooks were written by teachers who are lovely, but quite hippie-ish.
Right. Because
they'd grown up in like the 60s and 70s. And all the books were like very anti-war narrative, right. which is good. I'm not like there should be more war in this. But they had this like almost sort of patronising, annoying tone where everything had to be a lecture. And the most famous chapter was called Soccer Balls to Afghanistan. And it was that was the name of the chapter. And I made a whole video about it. And it was like how like a whole school in Japan made soccer balls for children in Afghanistan.
That's an amazing chapter for the new Born Japan.
Well,
soccer balls in Afghanistan.
There's a line in it where it says, when we showed the kids the balls, their eyes lit up. It was like a magic. And that's where the phrase "like a magic" comes from.
Oh my god!
And I had to read this out, and I'm like, try not to laugh. And it's like, each ball took a week to make. They made 400 balls. I'm like, there must be a better way. Could they not donate something better? Or like, give them money? Like, imagine the kids of Afghanistan, like, oh, it's food supplies. Oh wait, no, it's a football. Hand-stitched in Saitama. I think the kids wanted something better than that. Like, so all these, I had to read this out, and I'm like, what am I doing in my life?
That's
something
a good use.
And that was my time as a teacher summarised. Wasn't all bad though. A lot of it was. When we showed the kids the balls, their eyes lit up. It was like a magic. And there's a photo of an Afghan child smiling like a football as the chapter photo.
That's so bad.
And I just reading this out day after day, wondering what I'm doing.